Hi everyone, in today's class I am going to work out another problem in not-for-profit organization. This is a complete problem in which I will be teaching you how to prepare income and expenditure account and how to calculate the surplus or deficit in the income and expenditure account and then balance sheet. Further, I am going to teach you how to calculate or find out the capital fund by preparing opening balance sheet. Let me read out the problem and then explain and work it out. What is given in the problem is the following is the receipts and payments account of Madurai City Club for the year ending 31st March 2018. They have given the receipts and payments account of Madurai City Club. Below that, they have given the receipts and payments account. In the receipt side, it starts with opening cash and bank balances. Opening cash 500 rupees, bank balance, opening bank balance 7,000 rupees. Below that, they have given all the receipts incurred during the year. We should identify whether the receipts are of capital nature and revenue nature. Then only we can prepare the final accounts. All the receipts which are of revenue nature only should be shown in the income side of the income and expenditure account. All the receipts which are of capital nature will have to be shown either in the liability side of the balance sheet or sometimes will have to be shown in the asset side by subtracting from the existing value of the asset. And after the opening cash and bank balance, they have given subscription, two subscription within bracket including 4,000 for 2016-17. And in the amount column, they have given 30,000 rupees. Actually, we are preparing final accounts for the current year 2017-18, financial year 2017-18, whereas within bracket they have given 16-17. 16-17 is the previous financial year. The amount 4,000 is of the previous financial year, is for the previous financial year, and the organization, the club has collected during the current year, and that money is included in the 30,000. At the time of working out the problem, we should properly adjust the value in order to arrive at the actual income. And then legacies, 9,000 rupees. Legacy is a gift given to a not-for-profit organization in the form of will. This could have been done by the members. This will would have been given to the not-for-profit organization either by members or by volunteers. This is a capital receipt and this should be shown in the liability side. Next, hall rent. Hall rent is the income. Hall rent is the income. This should be shown in the income side of the income and expenditure account. Then finally, they have given receipts for match fund. Receipts for match fund is if you see the word fund, then we should understand that this should be shown in the liability side of the balance sheet. Already I have worked out a problem for this. There is a commitment. When there is a fund allocated for some specific purposes, we can simply understand that there is a commitment. When there is a commitment, it should be treated as liability. Further, all the expenses and income related to the fund should only be adjusted with the particular fund account in the liability side itself, either by adding or subtracting. Income from the fund should be added with the fund account. If there is any expenses related to the fund, should be subtracted and should be shown in the liability side of the balance sheet. In case there is any negative balance, then the negative value should be shown in the expenditure side. I have worked out a problem. If you have any doubt, you can watch my previous video. There I have explained it thoroughly. Then if you come to the payment side, there are two major types of payments. One is of capital nature and another is revenue payments or revenue nature. Only the revenue payments must be taken into the expenditure side of the income and expenses account, income and expenditure account. All the capital payments should be taken to the asset side. Sometimes reduction of any long-term liability will appear in the payment side. That will have to be shown in the liability side by subtracting from the existing liability. Let me read out all the payments one by one and explain it. Upkeep of ground. Upkeep of ground means maintenance. Maintenance of ground. This is a recurring expenditure and this will have to be shown in the expenditure side of the income and expenditure account. Then match expenses. When there is a fund for the particular expenses, it will have to be shown in the liability side. If there is no fund, specific fund for match account, then we can treat this as revenue expenses. In this problem, as they have given match fund, we should subtract this match expenses from the match fund account. Then sundry expenses. Sundry expenses is the revenue expense. This should be shown in the expenditure side of the income and expenditure account. Furniture is an asset. This will appear in the current year balance sheet. Finally, at the end, by balance carried down, they have given the closing cash and bank balance 1500 and 11,000. This will appear in the current year balance sheet, asset side of the current year balance sheet. The total of receipts and payments account shows 79,000. Below that, they have given us some additional information. On 1st April 2017, the club had investment of rupees 40,000. This 1/4/2017 is the opening. 1/4/2017 is the opening, right? This amount will appear in the opening balance sheet or previous year balance sheet. Then the club also had a credit balance of rupees 30,000 in the match fund account. In match fund account, this is a credit balance. This will appear in the liability side of the opening balance sheet. Match fund, any fund is a liability, right? As I said earlier, this should be shown in the liability side, but in the opening balance sheet. On 31st March 2017, 31st March in the sense previous year closing, subscriptions in arrears, outstanding subscription are accrued, where rupees 4,000. This is the asset of the previous year. This is the asset of the previous year. And the subscription in arrears on 31st March 2018 were rupees 4,500. March 31st 2018 means current year. Current year end. Subscription in arrears. Outstanding subscription on 31st March is the current year asset. On 31st March 2017 is the previous year asset. Based on the time period given, we should understand whether it is a asset or liability of the current year or previous year. Prepare final accounts. Finally, they have asked us to prepare the final accounts. We should note down one thing here. Capital fund is not given in the problem. By adjusting or by preparing the opening balance sheet, we can calculate the capital fund. All the details related to the opening assets and liabilities should be taken into the balance sheet, and it should be used for calculating the capital fund, and it should be taken to the current year balance sheet. Let me work out the problem now. Now we are going to prepare income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March 2018. This is a ledger account. In the left top corner, we should write debit DR. In the right top corner, we should write CR for credit. In the debit side, we are going to record all the expenses. Expenditure side. In the credit side, we are going to record all the incomes. By using the rule, nominal account rule, debit all expenses and losses. Here we are going to use the rule credit all incomes and gains. As I have already explained about the problem thoroughly, let me directly show the values here, right? Upkeep of ground. We should show all the recurring expenses. Recurring expenses are revenue expenses. In the expenditure side. Like that, here we should record all the revenue incomes in the revenue receipts in the income side, or the life of the particular expenses or income must be over within the particular financial year. Then we can consider that as an income or expenses according to the nature. Upkeep of ground 16,500. This is available in the payment side. Upkeep means maintenance, growing grass and other maintenance expenditure. This will incur in the organization or club every year. 16,500. Next, sundry expenses. Sundry means many, right? 11,000 rupees. Sundry expenses every year the organization or club will incur. No other expenditures are there to show here. If you come to the income side, by subscription 30,000. This is what is given in the receipt side. Within the bracket itself, there in the problem, within the bracket they have given 4,000 rupees. I just read it out from the problem. Including 4,000 for 16-17. Including 4,000 for 16-17 in the sense we are preparing final accounts for 17-18. If it ends on 31st-3-2018 means this financial year would have started in the previous year, 17. 1/4/2017 to 31st-3/2018, whereas the subscription includes 4,000 for 16-17 in the sense previous year amount. Previous year amount, whereas the organization received during the current year. Received during the current year, this amount must be subtracted. We should not see whether the amount is received or not. We should see whether the amount is for the current year or not. If the amount is for the current year, then we should show the amount in the income side. If it is not related to the current year, it may be for the previous year or for the subsequent year, then if the amount is included in the current year subscription, then it should be subtracted. Be clear here. Received for subscription received for 2016-17, 4,000 rupees. That must be, this amount is added, which is for the previous year. This should be subtracted from the amount. Right, 26,000. 30 minus 4, 26,000. In the additional information, they have given subscription in arrears on 31st March 2018 were rupees 4,500. Current year outstanding. Current year outstanding at the end of the year, the club has outstanding subscription which is for the current year. This must be added. This must be added. Here, whenever we are preparing income and expenditure account, we should not see whether we have received the amount or not. We should see whether the amount is for the current year or not. If the amount is for the current year, we should add it or subtract it according to the nature. This amount is for the previous year and the same is included in the current year amount. That is why we have subtracted it. This amount is the outstanding. This is not included in the current year amount. In order to arrive at the actual income of the particular year, we have added this. So the total is 30,500. If you see the receipt side, there is only one item here, hall rent 10,000. This is the income, hall rent. Hall rent is the income, 10,000 rupees. After verifying whether we have extracted from all the details of expenditure and income extracted from the receipts and payments account, then we should see in which side the total amount is high. Here, roughly we can understand 30 plus 10, 40, here only less than 30,000. So the total amount is high in the credit side. Write the total here or write the same total in the opposite side. Then we should subtract all the residual amount from the total. Remaining amount from the total, 40,500 minus 16,500 minus 11,000. These total must be subtracted from the overall total. Then we will get, we have 13,000. We have 13,000. This simply makes us to understand that the income is more. Income is more than the expenses. Income is more, so that the balance is in the debit side. Here we should write excess of income over expenditure. This is surplus. Since this is a not-for-profit organization, we are preparing income and expenditure account. We do not calculate the profit or loss. No other difference is there except the title and the answer. Except the title and answer, no other difference in preparing the method. Some terms will be different. In profit and loss account, goods will come there, whereas here subscription and other related income and expenses will incur towards the service. Income and expenditure account, surplus is the balance. If we have the balance in the debit side, we should call it a surplus and we should write excess of income over expenditure. Then after preparing this, we want to go for preparing the balance sheet, but here in this problem they haven't given, they did not give capital fund. Capital fund is not given in the problem. Just by presenting the values in the balance sheet, opening balance sheet or previous year closing balance sheet, we can calculate the capital fund. By adjusting the values, we can calculate the capital fund. This is not asked in the problem. Just for preparing the current year balance sheet, we only should identify that this needs to be prepared. This is a working note. This is a working note, right? Or tutorials. Opening balance sheet. We are going to prepare opening balance sheet in order to find out the capital fund. In order to find out the capital fund by taking all the opening assets and liabilities available in the problem and additional information, we are going to calculate the capital fund. Balance sheet as on 31st March 2017. We want to prepare only for the 2018 current year balance sheet. As the capital fund is not available, we are preparing the previous year balance sheet. 2017 or 1/4 2017 or 31st 3. 31st 3 means previous year closing. 1/4 is the opening. That's all. No other value in the closing and opening will change. This side is left hand side liabilities, right hand side assets. Only one information is available in the receipts and payments account. Two balance brought down. Opening cash and bank balance will appear in the asset side. Opening cash and bank balance will always appear in the asset side. We should take the opening cash and bank balance. Opening cash in hand 7,000 rupees. Cash at bank 500 rupees. Cash at bank 500 rupees. Apart from that, we should see the additional information. The values given on 1st April or 31st 3 must be considered for preparing the balance sheet, opening balance sheet or closing previous year balance sheet. All the values given on 31st 3 or 1/4, 31st 3 or 1/4. Some values should have been given as 31st 3 or on 1/4. You should not get confused there, right? On 1st April 2017, the club had investment. 1st April or 31st 3. As I said earlier, both are same, right? Investment 40,000 rupees. Investment is the asset. The value is 40,000. The club also had a credit balance of 30,000 in match fund account. Next, match fund. Match fund is a liability. Any fund is a liability. There is an obligation, right? Funds are allocated for some specific purposes. Then it should be treated as a liability. They have given 30,000 rupees in the additional information. In the previous year itself, match fund is available in the additional information and the club has created it, right? It is a liability. Next, subscription in arrears. On 31st March 2017, subscription in arrears were 4,000 rupees, right? Outstanding subscription. 31st March 2017. We are preparing balance sheet for 31st March 2017 or 1/4. If any value is given on 1/4 or 31st 3, it should be treated as the previous year. It should be treated as the previous year. 1/4 means current year opening. 31st 3 means previous year closing. That's all. No other value. No value will change when the closing balances are transferred to the opening balance sheet. So outstanding subscription on 31st March is 4,000 rupees. Amount to be received on 31st March is the asset. Amount to be received or not yet received is the asset. Outstanding subscription 4,000 rupees. Right? There is no other particular to be recorded or shown in the opening balance sheet. We should verify from the receipts and payments account and from all the additional information. When you go through the problem, you should consider everything in mind. Then only you can remember and record in the opening balance sheet. Now if you close the balance sheet, you will get the capital fund. You can find out the value of capital fund. Here simply by seeing the values we can understand in which side the total amount is high. Here the total is high. If you add all the values, you will get 51,500. Write the same total in the opposite side in the same line, right? If you there is only one amount here, 30,000. If you subtract this 30,000 from 51,500, you will get 21,500. This is the capital fund. This is the capital fund of the organization. As we have calculated, you put a star mark there. Then only the evaluator can easily verify. They cannot verify everything just by seeing the answer and other details you have presented. The evaluator can easily understand whether you have proceeded properly or not. Now let us see how to prepare the balance sheet for the current year. Balance sheet as on 31st March 2018. 17-18 is the current year. Right, in the left hand side we are going to record all the liabilities. In the right hand side we are going to record all the asset side. This side is liability side. This is asset side because this is a statement. That is why we used to write always balance sheet as on 31st March. Then we should transfer all the details, fixed assets and non-current liability to the current year balance sheet. If there is any change associated with that, we should add or subtract according to the nature. Here investment is the fixed. Investment 40,000. There is no addition or subtraction. No further investment is made during the current year or no investments are liquidated. So we can directly take into account 40,000 rupees. Others would have changed. Others have changed. Outstanding subscription, this is for the previous year. We should see what is the outstanding subscription for the current year. Similarly, cash in hand and cash at bank. Here, capital fund we have transferred. That is why we prepared, right? That is why we prepared opening balance sheet. In order to calculate the capital fund, we prepared the opening balance sheet. This amount should be taken to the current year balance sheet. Similarly, match fund. Match fund is a non-current liability. This amount should be transferred to the current year balance sheet, liability side. Apart from that, we should see closing cash and bank balances will appear in the asset side. Closing cash and bank balances. Cash in hand 1,500, cash at bank 11,000 rupees. We should see from the receipts and payment side. From the receipt side, we should identify whether there is any non-current liability or reduction in the value of fixed asset. From the receipt side, there are two major components which may affect the current year balance sheet. Either it will increase the liability, non-current liability, or decrease the existing fixed asset. If any fixed assets are sold during the year, it will be available in the receipt side. If any fixed assets are sold during the year, it will be available in the receipt side. That must be subtracted from the existing value of the asset. Here, opening cash and bank balance, that will not affect the current year balance sheet. Subscription already taken. Subscription is the income, right? Legacy, 9,000 rupees. Legacy is a gift given to a not-for-profit organization in the form of will, right? It may be a property or financial assets. Could have been given by the member or by volunteers to a not-for-profit organization. This is a non-current liability. This will appear in the liability side. Then match fund is there. Receipts for match fund is there. We should see whether there is any fund created in the previous year itself. Here in the opening balance sheet, we see match fund 30,000 rupees. Match fund 30,000 rupees. During the current year, the club has received further receipts for match fund 22,500. Receipts for match fund 22,500. This should be added. Already the club was having 30,000. During the year, further the club has received 22,500. At the same time, during the year, the club has spent 19,000 rupees for match expenses. So whatever is the expenses or income associated with the fund should be taken into the balance sheet. These expenses should not be shown in the expenditure side because the club has created a fund for meeting out the expenses. So these expenses must be subtracted. After subtracting 19,000 from the total fund account, we have 33,500. This is a favorable balance. Still, the club has 33,500 in the match fund account. In case the expenses are more than the fund available in the particular account, then the entire calculation should be shown in the expenditure side of the income and expenditure account. Before working out the income and expenditure account, if you see any fund account, you should roughly calculate whether there is any favorable balance or unfavorable balance. If it shows negative balance, then you should show the entire details in the expenditure side of the income and expenditure account itself. Here it shows positive balance. Still the club has 33,500 rupees in the match fund account. That is why we have directly shown it here. Then if you come to the asset side, upkeep of ground is the expenses, recurring expenses or revenue expenses, match fund account, we have shown it under match fund. Sundry expenses, furniture 20,000, right? Furniture 20,000 is the asset. There is no depreciation related to the asset given. Then closing cash in hand and cash at bank, 1,500, 11,000. Below that we should see the additional information whether any assets or liabilities are there to be shown in the current year balance sheet. Here only one item is there, right? Subscription in arrears on 31st March 2018. 31st March 2018 subscription arrear. Arrear means outstanding, not yet received or to be received, amount to be received. Subscription to be received is an asset. Subscription to be received is an asset, and particularly on 31st 3, 2018. The amount is 4,500. Everything is over now. Everything is over now. We have shown all the details related to the current year assets and liabilities. For assets and liabilities for the year 31st 3 2018 17-18. If you total the values, you should get the you should get the equal amount in both the sides, 77,000. Then you can understand that you have followed the dual aspect principle properly. I hope that you all would have understood this clearly. Let me work out another problem in the next class. If you like this video, kindly subscribe and share this video to your friends and relatives, and turn on the bell notification, then only you'll get notified whenever I put videos. See you in the next class.